Isn't it true there's no place like home?
Yes.
Coffs Harbour!
Yes.
We've got our first pick. I love that. You know when you're travelling and you're coming home, see if you're coming from the air, you come over Muttonbird and into the approach to the airport, or maybe over Sawtell. That's pretty special. Your heart's like, I'm coming home. Maybe you're driving and you're coming up from the south past the big windmill. You just get that same feeling up over the hill and you come home. Or in from the north past the big banana. That same feeling. There's no place like home. In August 2003, as a 22-year-old, I loaded up my 1990 Mitsubishi Lancer and drove down from the Sunshine Coast. The funny thing was that all I'd ever known about Coffs Harbour was the big banana. So as I'm travelling in, I see the big banana and I go up over the rise and down past Park Beach Plaza, which I say was not as impressive then as it is now. And I thought to myself, that's it. That's Coffs Harbour. That's all there is. I don't know if I want to come here. I'm glad there was so much more to Coffs Harbour than that. See, I came to Coffs to start my first full-time job in rehabilitation. And actually it was Kirsty Dooch who hired me. Yes. I applied for that job, but actually I was keen on a job in Sydney. So I thought to myself, the strategist that I am, I'm going to spend 6 months in Coffs, get some experience, and then I'll go on to that other job in Sydney. Well, come 6 months, I'd fallen in love with the place. And I thought, why would you give this up to go to a big city where there's queues, where there's pollution, where there's crowds, it's just not here. So I'm going to stay here. But it wasn't just the lifestyle. It was the church family. It was you guys. Coffs had already begun to feel like home because of family. A few weeks after I came to town, I remember trying to find a church, and I was really praying to God about that. And I went on a search that included asking my boss, Kirsty, do you know any good churches in town? She said, as a matter of fact, you should come to my church. And so I did, and that was that. Well, about 3 weeks in, the pastor at the time came to me and he said, Phil, can I just have a quiet word? He said, I've noticed you keep coming back. Why do you keep coming back? There's no young adults here. Don't you want to be at a church where, there's young adults? And I just remember saying back to him, I'm not looking for a church of young adults. I'm looking for a church family. And that's what I had experienced here. So this month marks 12 years that you have been my church family. So I want to share how, as a church family, you've helped me to experience transformation, community, and mission, which is actually the vision of this church here. So firstly, transformation. This is a pic of me when I first arrived in Coffs. Now, I look pretty relaxed in that shot, but I can tell you, those who knew me at the time, I was an ambitious, highly driven achiever type. There was no relaxing going on. Was there, John? And at the same time, though, after connecting in here at church, I started taking my faith a whole lot more seriously. And I highly value that each one of you who spoke into my life at that time began journeying with me. A personal highlight was in 2004 when I was baptised at church camp. This public declaration of faith was an important step for me as I became more bold in sharing my faith at work. And after a few years, I became the manager of another rehab company in town. and I went about building it up. The thing was, in trying to make that successful, I became a workaholic in the process. But still, you guys kept on loving me. Fast forward to the end of 2008 when that position was made redundant, unexpectedly. And I realised how much of my identity I had sought to gain from position, title, salary, all these kind of things. And you as a church family helped me on a process to discover my true identity in Christ. In 2009, I thoroughly enjoyed getting to oversee the redevelopment process here at church. That was a great day when the new chairs arrived, I'll tell you that. And I think for me, it's a time that I'll always look back on with fond memories, because the physical transformation of a building was representative of God's spiritual transformation in me and what was happening on the inside. And that transformation continues to this day. Well, the second core value here is community. As I mentioned, when I came to this church, there weren't any other young adults. In fact, with the odd exception, I felt pretty much like the only 20-something for many years. And that was pretty hard at times, but you guys did such an awesome job of including me and being sensitive to the needs of a single guy. Your prayers, encouragement, hugs, a shoulder to cry on. Most importantly, you invited me for meals. And Bel knows my abilities as a cook. And God knows I needed you. In the last 2 weeks, I've been reading a really great book, and it's on singleness and the church, and it's written by a friend of mine, and this flood of memories came back to me as I was reading it. It's all about how, as a church, we should be embracive of people, no matter what season they're going through. And for me, I was just so moved by just memories of all what you guys have done for me over the years. See, in this church, I've had spiritual grandparents. I've had spiritual parents. I've had spiritual brothers and sisters. And spiritual kids as well. Being Uncle Lucky Phil to so many kids over the years has been just a tremendous joy. And to see them grow up. But throughout my 20s, it was a very lonely season at times for me. Because I had a heart's desire to be married. And you guys were such an authentic and loving community for me. And I'm just so appreciative. A few years back, a former mentor said to me, he said, "Phil, you keep mentioning about this heart's desire to be married. What are you going to do about it? I suggest you change churches. I suggest you skip town and go somewhere where there's more fish in the pond." His quotable quote was, "What do you think? God's just going to bring her right to your church?" Yep. In 2011, God brought along a very talented singer-songwriter here. And August 2011, that's when love came to town. Bel and I were married 12 months later. And we were so blown away that so many of you would make the effort to come up and share in such a joyous celebration up at Mount Tambourine. What a celebration of God's faithfulness. And to have been able to do the journey with so many of you. It was not just our celebration, personally. Community. As a community, we celebrated. Well, the third core value of this church is mission. And I really believe that God's called each one of us to make a difference. And I love that mission. It's a core component of what we do here. To be honest though, I thought that my contribution to missions was just through financial support, maybe using some of my admin skills to kind of organise some fundraisers and things of this nature. But mainly it was for other people to do the work on the ground. As a single guy though, I occasionally had this thought, wouldn't it be cool one day if, with my wife, I get to do a little bit of a mission trip here and there? I know that'd be really neat. Well, in supporting Bel's dream to tour and travel and share her music far and wide, I unwittingly became a missionary. It's been so incredible. Little did I know that all those years here honing my gifts of administration and leadership, God was preparing me for what He was going to do in my life later on. And to think that now I get to minister alongside Bel in churches, conferences, schools, camps, to such a diverse group of people right across the country, and maybe one day internationally. I think back of the vision that Dave's had for the church and that was shared in the service today, and I can just see us being sent to touch thousands of people. Do you know that over the past 3 years, Bel and I we've done somewhere in the region of 174 gigs. Do you know we've shared with over 22,000 people? It just totally blows me away. To think that those years here, not just getting to know a fantastic group of people, but to know that God was building something in me for this time. As a church family, you've prayed us out to minister. You've equipped us with financial donations. You equipped us with a car. Just so grateful. If you're going to do something significant with your life, you can't do it alone. You need a church family. I love you. All right, for a little while now, you've kind of heard our thoughts. In fact, many of you predicted when I married Bel, he's off. But we really felt a sense to be a part of this church family for another season of time, and that's now taken us up to nearly 3 years. But we really believe in our discernment process, speaking with our mentor and family, that now is the time to move on. So in leaving here, we're going to go to the Springwood Church of Christ, which has been Bel's home church for all of her life up until we got married. And they're a great bunch of folk. And I'm sure they're going to love on us too. But you guys will always be special. Always be incredibly special. The vision at Springwood is to know, grow, and go. That's exactly it. So please pray for us that we would know God more, that we would enjoy knowing others and being truly known in community, that we would grow in our faith and our gifts, and that we would continue to go to share the love of God with so many. We certainly look forward to coming back to Coffs now and then. And it's less of a farewell, but more of a see you later today. But looking back on 12 years, I've just been so blown away by God's faithfulness and the love He's shown me through all of you, and I'll be forever thankful. God bless you.
Well, there's been so many special moments right here, even right here, literally. You saw the photo, meeting Phil right here on this platform. I think that's amazing, Matt Green, that you actually managed to snap a photo of that moment. Having our engagement party here, leading with the team here and getting that privilege. And last year, getting to launch the brand new album here in this place as well and really celebrate as a community. For me, they have been pivotal moments in my life. I really knew that this was a special place from the very first time that I was here. I remember thinking, man, they're a raucous bunch. And, and not to mention there was a very cute guy sitting pretty much where he's sitting right now. I never thought, honestly, before that moment that I would leave Brisbane, where I was very planted and just very close with my family and my church family and community and friends there. But once Phil and I had started dating, we obviously knew if we were going to get married, one of us would probably have to move. So Phil had told me actually up front, before we'd even started dating, he just said, I've signed up for this eldership commitment, and he said, I really feel that the Lord wants me to be faithful to that. He wants me to stick it out, and I'm called to be here to see that out. So I knew that from the start, and I, rather than kind of scaring me off, I just thought, that was one of the things I thought, this guy's a keeper. Because he's not just willing to flick his church family to chase some girl to another city. He knows where he's planted and he knows where he's meant to be. And that was really attractive to me. And I remember, some months later, once we're engaged, just pondering that and thinking through, what was going to happen. And I was reading in the Bible, it's Psalm 139, and I felt God speak to me specifically that I was the one that was to move in that period. And it said, Psalm 139 verse 7, I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. If I go up to heaven, you're there. If I go down to the grave, you are there. If I ride at the wings of the morning, if I dwell by the furthest oceans, even there your hand will guide me and your strength will support me. For me, at that time, Coffs kind of seemed like the furthest ocean away from my family and where all my support systems were. But for me, those verses were God's clear promise that He would be in Coffs Harbour with me, that He would be faithful, that I would hear His voice here just as surely as I had in the town where I'd grown up. And 3 years on now, I can say absolutely that God has been faithful, that this has been one of the best seasons of my life. After I read those verses, I told Phil that I really felt God had called me to leave my home and to come down here and to make this my home. And you guys have just embraced me like one of your own, and I've been truly thankful for that. I've loved this season. I feel like in my time here, I've grown so much in my faith, and I'm just so thankful for every person who's been a part of this season. I came here as a newlywed, and I feel like I've learned so much in this season. Learned how to be married and not kill my husband, which was the first significant lesson. And beyond that, learning to grow to actually be in ministry together and to actually be sent on, and that has just been such an adventure. And you guys, honestly, you built and trained and gave me the best husband that a girl could want. So I'm truly thankful for that. He wouldn't be who he is today without you guys, and so thank you. Here in Coffs, I've seen God bring dreams into reality that were just thoughts in my head before I moved here. It was here in Coffs. In that first year, we decided to step out and go and record in Nashville, which seemed like a crazy out-of-this-world dream at the time. And then following that, to try touring full-time. and they were just dreams, but this season here in Coffs has seen those come true. It's been such a rich time for me, and I'm so much richer for sharing the journey with you guys. I'm so thankful for the family of God and the way that you guys have welcomed me as your own. Even last week when my family was visiting here, my mum said to me, I just love coming here. Like, there's such a great church and such a great family, and I know Phil's family says the same thing. So it's a very special place, and you are very special to us, and I'm so glad that God called us to do this season together. I feel like I go back to Brisbane a very different person, and a much stronger person, and I'm so thankful for my time here. I never could have grown in the way that I have if I had have stayed back home in Brisbane. I think for me, the biggest learning from this season is that I realise how much we stand to miss if we stay where it's comfortable instead of following God into the unknown. Great blessings await in the unknown where God leads. For me, Coffs Harbour was my unknown, and God called me here, and it has just been my season of incredible growth and blessing.